Howdy day. Thanks for listening, not reading, to my presentation on my rough draft. Haha. Academic language. Today I'll be telling you about feminist critical theory and how it can be used effectively to analyze poet Sylvia Plath's daddy. This should be pretty obvious if you know about Sylvia Plath because she was famous for writing daddy specifically because it was very anti-dad. Instead of looking at how it was anti-male, however, I'm going to look at how it was pro-female because technically feminism and feminist critical theory isn't about the negative male oppression of women, but instead about exposing the female plight itself, their experiences in a man's world. Here's a quote to support that claim. Feminist critical theories aspire to describe the world in ways that correspond to women's experience and that identify the fundamental social transformations necessary for full equality between the sexes. First, let's take a look at the poem as a whole. In terms of quoting a part of it for an example, I'll get to that, but I want to talk about how writing is itself a form of fighting off oppression, specifically in the case of Sylvia Plath. Sylvia Plath's father, as we'll see, was a violent idiot. Naturally, the opposite of a raging gorilla is a quiet, depressed woman writing poetry. Quickly, a quote to exemplify this point. Daddy, I have had to kill you. You died before I had time. Marble heavy, a bag full of God. Ghastly statue with one gray toe, big as a Frisco seal. Even quicker, an analysis. Figurative language. She didn't really try to kill him, he died on his own, so already an exemplification of the human mind in a female human and its ability to think. This, a form of self-defense, from men or otherwise. Next, we see some poking fun at him as a corpse, where the guy is ironically compared to art like a Greek statue in a bag, which is uncool, but full of God, which sounds cool but is actually uncooler because it suggests he was a hypocrite who was actually full of shit. Lastly, his toe is compared to a Texan seal, the gray aquatic kind of seal. Talk about cutting down a man with a pen. The whole poem is this, so I'm using this quote as an example to set the stage for the rest of my essay, video presentation. So, next thing. She compares him to a Nazi and herself to a Jew, using increasingly powerful language. What do I mean? And what do I mean by what I mean? Regard. I used to pray to recover you. Ach du, which is German for oh you. I thought every German was you, and the language obscene. And your Aryan eye, bright blue. Panzerman, oh you. I made a model of you, a man in black with a Mein Kampf look. So, rolling back to our assignment, which was to look at this through a lens, we see feminist critical theory in systemic suppression of femininity here in how Nazis systemically suppressed Judaism. Essentially, the tie-in is that the system is cruel and evil and that her father is that personified, and she herself as a woman began to talk like a Jew. I think I may well be a Jew, so to speak. Her father's regime was chuffing me off like a Jew to Dachau, Auschwitz, Belsen. She felt maligned by him because of her gender, the exact same way Jews felt maligned by Nazis because of their race and religion. According to my research, feminist critical theory is the awareness of systemic sexism. Like how critical race theory claims that race does not exist and is in fact just a societal fabrication, since everyone's equal, get it? FCT also says gender does not exist and is in fact just a societal fabrication since everyone's equal. Get it? So, we see in Sylvia Plath's daddy, there's a stake in your fat black heart, and the villagers never liked you. They are dancing and stamping on you. They always knew it was you. Daddy, you bastard, I'm through. This is a reference to vampirism. Interestingly, it is a reversal, like in wrestling, of systemic oppression because instead of the system hating on her because of her gender, the system, and by extension the people, hates on her mean dad after he died by celebrating his death, even dancing on his grave because ding dong, the witch is dead. But in this case, it'd be a warlock, or literally Hitler. If you've seen the recent movie Nosferatu, the remake, you know that the gypsies near Castle Dracula feared and hated vampires, and staked them as a community in order to protect themselves. This image is evoked by her writing, suggesting that the systemic oppression should be of evil itself, not of her for being a girl. FCT is the examination of the oppression embedded in unquestioned norms. This is a quote. FCT is the examination of the oppression embedded in unquestioned norms, habits, and symbols, in the assumptions underlying institutional rules and the collective consequences of following those rules. Well, Sylvia Plath is questioning those norms in her poetry. The snows of the Tyrol, the clear beer of Vienna, are not very pure or true. With my gypsy ancestress and my weird luck, and my Tarak pack, I may be a bit of a Jew. Imagine being downtrodden just because of your race, like the gypsies have been since time immemorial. Similarly, the Jews have also been bullied for a long time. Well, shockingly, women have actually been around since human beings were all in the same part of Africa, back before there were Jews or gypsies, and everyone was covered in hair and just barely starting to walk on two legs. They've been stepped on for far longer, if you think about it, by men, because men have more physical strength and less brain power. Imagine disagreeing with your wife. There you go. See, it's all about thinking. Let's think about the quote, then wrap this up. Re-examining oppression, first of race, then of women, because a woman wrote about the oppression of race to call attention to the oppression of women, because she suffers it every day, especially from ages 0 to 10, when her father was relentlessly mean to her. So yeah. In conclusion, we can all see how the tenets of feminist critical theory are espoused dramatically in Sylvia Plath's poem Daddy. It isn't so much that she hates her dad as much as she feels her femininity is tarnished by his stupidity. It'd be wrong to focus on her hate as much as her beautiful use of the English language to paint us a pretty picture of something incredibly ugly. We see the core of FCT in the comparison with Nazis, in that the systematic racism is equivalent to the systemic sexism, and that it is evil and damaging. Did you know she wound up killing herself? Don't forget to be polite.